Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very impromptu Make Solo 2 Happen live stream. I was planning on live streaming anyway, but yeah, it like the whole Make Solo 2 Happen movement, because I'm in the UK, so it's it's midnight 30 now, right now in the UK, but was watching it grow and things like that, and then when the guys who started it, the Resistance broadcast, with probably about their morning time, it just proper blew up. So I figured, bless him, my navigator, Canon Junkie, aka Jerry, did a wonderful thing for Jeddah. It is coming, but it just felt bizarre to not embrace this day because it's really transformed into something really wonderful. And everything. But if you're tuning in for the very first time, my name is Shannon. This is Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge. You are actually watching the live stream version. I do a podcast. Sometimes the episodes are far and few in between because I'm very busy with the day job, but I try to do things with the live streams. So, things like kind of like current events that happen because things are happening so fast in the Star Wars news cycle right now that by the time I produce the graphics and all the things and try to do the editing and things, it's almost out of date. So this is Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge. The title comes from kind of two Easter eggs. It comes from the book by the late great Carrie Fisher, Postcards from the Edge, and then of course the new theme park that is, I think, either just opened or is going to open any day now, Galaxy's Edge. And what happens is every broadcast or podcast or whatever is from a different canon planet or moon, I'm saying. A lot of these canon facts that I'm learning with my navigator, Canon Junkie, that a lot of the things I keep thinking are planets are actually technically moons because Endor is technically a moon, and I just found out today that Jeddah is technically a moon. But we are not going to be broadcasting from Jeddah, as you can see. We are actually broadcasting from Kessel. Now, apologies because this was very last minute change. I mean, I'm talking at the 11th hour. Jerry, my lovely navigator, isn't going to be able to change the Navicomputer to give us some canon facts on Kessel, but that's okay because we can just talk about it and talk about Solo and everything. So we're going to obviously jump into those Vanity Fair photos that dropped yesterday, I think. Sorry, my time zones are all off now, but I really wanted to touch on this Make Solo 2 happen. It's been wonderful watching it unfold on Twitter. My phone was literally blowing up at work from 8 a.m. to when I left at about 6:30, and I had to like turn alerts off and vibrates and things because it was just getting a little bit distracting and things because I usually don't have the sound on my phone anyway. But it was just cool. But what I've really enjoyed is the very much the positivity about it because here's my take on it. I actually with Solo I would actually say is probably isn't my first go-to film. When I watched it in the cinema, I enjoyed it. There was definitely moments where I was smiling. Like I love the Kessel Run. I love there's a piece of music that is kind of where they've taken a lot of the classical John Williams parts and blended them together. I think it's even I have to look up a second in what the title's called. Um, but it's very much reminiscent of the music from when the Millennium Falcon went through the asteroid field in Empire Strikes Back and things like that. So it was really nice nostalgia. But I think my slight gripe at first of Solo was it almost felt too fan servicey. Like what I mean by that is like almost too Easter eggy. Like I love the whole Easter eggs where like the Imperial March is played in a major key for a propaganda film. You know, I love seeing the holocrons and the stuff in the back of Dryden Voss's, basically suite or whatever. So that was really cool. But I think for me is when like Beckett was taking the outfit out and it was the skiff guard or whatever that was in Return of the Jedi that Lando wore. For me, I always envisioned that Lando conked him over the head and stole the garb. That was just a little too much. But I loved even the shout out to Tarakasi. I remember playing that video game at on a military base It was called a PX, so it stands for Post Exchange. And I remember that's when like they used to have like the PlayStations by the front door where you could play on them or whatever. And I remember playing as the different Luke Skywalkers and Darth Vaders, and I kind of part of me wants that back. That I think would be awesome. But so I love that even that was Terracotta. But what I will say, and the reason why I'm kind of on board with this Make Solo 2 happen, because even though it's not my absolute go-to film, it still felt very much like a Star Wars film, and I also feel it got a lot of unwanted or unnecessary hate. Like, hey, I'll be the first one to say I don't like how he got his name in the film where they're like, oh, Solo, blah, blah, blah. So trust me, I am not here to, like, I have my criticisms, but that's the thing. What I like kind of about this film is kind of you can still love it but have criticisms. I think that sometimes you don't have to be a left or a right. You don't have to be, oh, I absolutely love it or I absolutely hate it. You know, I just really I wanted to give a major shout out to Alden. Like, what a talk about like huge shoes to fill. Harrison Ford is absolutely iconic as Han Solo. I mean, you say Han Solo, that's who you envision. So I purposely went into the film a year ago just with an open mind, which is definitely what I'm going to go in with episode 9 and things like that. Because I went in with obviously, like a lot of people, into The Last Jedi with expectations and wants and what I want to see and things like that. And I loved it. I even have criticisms on that one, but that's a different conversation another time. But with Solo, I was like, do you know what? I am just going to give this an open mind. I think it didn't help that the production problems were very public. So, I mean, there was really no way you could get around it when they got rid of the original guys and brought in Ron Howard. I mean, you can't really kind of keep that a secret too much. But so I think it had a few things kind of stacked against it, but all things considering, I walked out very surprised. I think because I knew it had this rocky past and all these kind of things, I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, and things. And now the better half loves it. Like, we put it on. It's the go-to feel-good movie, and loves the bromance between Han and Chewie and things like that. I loved that scene between Han and Chewie and them, like the little fighting and things. I actually didn't mind him kind of speaking Shiriwook, Shiwook. I can't quite say it right. The Wookiee language. I know some people were like, well, why didn't he ever do it again? But it was still a nice, because he obviously had to get Chewbacca's attention. So what better way than to have this human, this Tarian, all of a sudden kind of like speaking your language, probably poorly, but kind of like, what the hell? So I don't know. I liked that and things. But no, I just really wanted to kind of start the conversation on the whole Make Solo 2. It was, if you don't know who started the Make Solo 2 happen hashtag, gotta give a massive shout out to the Resistance broadcast, part of Star Wars News.net. And those guys, I mean, they've been pitching it for ages. And I mean, when they said do it, I was like, yeah, heck, why not? I even on the train into work today did some graphics. That's kind of what you're seeing up. Make sure I got my mirroring here in the top right, or sorry, top left corner, where I was like, oh, I'll take my logo and I'll swap out the characters and things like that. It took about half an hour just to get it all going. And then I was just like watching it over the day and just was proper well chuffed for them, as we say in England, like, excited, happy kind of thing. I mean, heck, it even beat out Terminator as the new Terminator trailer dropped today, which that's okay. Like, I don't I wasn't quite impressed with the trailer, and I actually worked on the previous Terminator, and that's saying something. But it was very exciting just to watch all the trending. Like, again, I thought, a core, majority of the listeners, because I'm a listener of theirs. I watched their podcast live at Celebration. Was really lucky to meet them and have some drinks very briefly. But I was thinking, oh, okay, not expecting it to blow up the way it did. And what was hilarious is when I was watching the most recent kind of tweets, was like seeing a lot of people kind of going, I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm on board. I mean, I would say out of every 10, there was probably 8 that was like, "Oh, I'm on board." There's a few that I caught that were just like, no, can we not make Solo 2 happen?" Which was hilarious because they were still using the hashtag. I was like, well, you're still helping it trend, but okay. Which, hey, listen, that's fair. That is completely fair. I will not sit up here and say, oh, no, you should feel a certain way about a film, or, oh, you're, no, no, no. I'm not about the divide. If you didn't like it, that's absolutely fine. I'm also very loving and out there with people who hated The Last Jedi. That's absolutely fine. That's kind of the thing that I think Star Wars has now kind of become, is this amalgamation of, it can appeal to different people and different wants and tastes and likes. If you like more of the lore and things, I mean, I think that was the biggest thing about Rogue One. People loved Rogue One because it put the war back in Star Wars, where Solo is just fun. It's really fun. And I do think it'd be cool to see some ends. It's interesting, and kind of the sub of this Make Solo 2 happen hashtag, the stories I actually really want to see is Enfys Nest and Kira, which is funny because that means like Solo may not even be in it, but it's those kind of characters that I'm very interested in and whatnot. So, and I mean, you know, what's her name? Amelia Clark is totally free now because Game of Thrones is over. So who knows? But yeah. So, what I was gonna say. So it's very interesting when the I have kind of a weird insider on the premiere for Solo. At the time, I'm not anymore, but at the time I was working on The Lion King, and every night would be listening to Jon Favreau give notes, things like that. That was part of my job, was to help kind of technical support kind of thing. And I remember that night, a year ago, we were all kind of happy we didn't have to work a late shift because John wasn't going to be in. Well, I say in, he wasn't going to be on the phone. Um, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, I wonder why." And of course, the Star Wars nerd in me was like, "Oh, I know why." Oh no, that's what it was. We didn't have it late; we had it early. So early for us, which was probably about 3 o'clock London time. God knows what time that was, LA time. But because he had to run out the door, when which I thought was amazing was because obviously nowadays these premieres they live stream. So we literally got off the phone with him, and I'm not quite sure where the premiere was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't right outside his front door. But got off the phone with him, and within half an hour, I remember I had it playing in the background on my computer, and all of a sudden, here Jon Favreau being interviewed because he was the voice of Rio, and I was like, oh, I know where you had to run off to, and things. So it's just kind of funny here, seeing that back end kind of point of view and things. But I also remember that like that was cool. That's when we kind of saw Billy D was there and things, and Ewan McGregor obviously was there, which has led now the massive speculation that that was kind of the leading up to the Obi-Wan film, which is now possibly going to be the third Disney Plus series going on. Again, I do love that. Well, like when people like almost say that it's happening, like none of this was confirmed. Like nothing, Ewan McGregor might have just been like, oh hey, Ray Park, he's my bud, we fought each other about 20 years ago kind of thing. I mean, but again, I know some of these things are also very strategic, but I do think it's funny sometimes that we and I'm just as guilty, can start almost talking in absolutes that, oh yes, this is totally happening, and no, there's no guarantee. It's worked out for some things, which is one of the things we will talk about, is the announcement of those 3 new Star Wars films coming down the road in 2022, 2024, and 2026. That is a mouthful. When you start putting 2020 into any year, that is a mouthful. I mean, listen, I was born in 1984, so I remember when we hit 2000, that just seemed weird. And then when we hit 2010 and the teens, I was like, oh man, this is really weird saying 17, 18, 19. I cannot believe next year I will be starting to say 2020. I do feel like I am now in a science fiction film because yeah, the years just blow my mind. Um, but I mean, I know for a long time we were kind of speculating about, oh, these next 3 films, oh, this has got to be Benny Weiss, and things like that. And sure enough, it did end up that. And some sources that I do watch, I do know they have inside sources, so I take them with a pinch of cinnamon. But no, okay, you guys probably have an inside view, but there's some other ones that I'm just like, guys, that's like me going, yep, we are for sure going to get a Lando Calrissian show. We're going to get 3 seasons. I mean, I'm just grasping at, straws here. So it's, yeah, that's kind of my kind of take on that. But so no, I'm just spending. So to kind of wrap up that talking about Make Solo 2 happen, we'll probably tie back to it because I mean, I love all people being clever on Twitter. Like, for example, kind of tying into the Vanity Fair photos. Clearly, one of the Knights of Ren. I'm so sorry, I don't have it to where I can make it pop up. That's my goal down the road. It just, again, this was a hard left to prep for everything, but clearly one of the Knights of Ren, it's the one that has his back facing us, and those photos with J.J. Abrams, has the axe that looks just like the one that was the armor that was in Dryden Voss's yacht. Now, my wondering, the practical industry person in me goes, they've reused a prop. However, that is a very distinctive prop. Like, I mean, it was in the publicity stills and things like, I mean, to the point even I was like, hang on a second, that battle axe looks exactly the same. So who knows? I really am not gonna deep dive into a speculation based on that photo. Who knows? They may be from the same area. So maybe it's gonna be from Sanvarine, I think is the name of the planet at the end of Solo that does all the oh my god, sorry, the coaxium, the unrefined coaxium uh, refinement processing. So maybe it's that. I don't know. Or it literally could be, hey, that was a cool axe. Let's make the Knights of Ren have that. You know. Another thing I didn't pick up the first time, but I have to thank Star Wars Explained and a few other people on Twitter, was that one of the Knights of Ren that has literally a arm gun. I didn't even think of that. Like, I looked at the picture going, oh yeah, there's a whole like this section missing. So that was quite cool and everything. But some of the other Vanity Fair, I love the horses. I don't know what they're actually called again. Oof. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start pulling them up because I just don't want to be like paraphrasing uh randomly. So let's pull these bad boys up. There we go. Rise of Skywalker. I mean, first of all, these photos are incredible. Like, starting when I'm now on the actual like Vanity Fair website, that shot, I mean, it almost looks like it's photoshopped. The way like the Wadi Rum is behind Daisy Ridley and the cast and things like that. I mean, it doesn't even look real. And I mean, no disrespect to the photographer, because I know she's like a legend, but it just, I look at that going, oh my god, is that a composition? Oh, okay. So then our next picture is the Knights of Ren. And I think what I like is they're all very different, but if you also look, their textures are similar. So for example, that one that I've mentioned that's got like the arm gun, his almost kind of like duster coat is very much the same kind of pleated fabric that Kylo Ren wears. And then let's see, there looks like there's a total of one, two, three, four, five, six. So yeah, four you can predominantly see, and two in the back you can barely see. But I mean, it looks like someone's got to have a thermal detonator on their belts, and I mean, it's looking really cool. Now, here's the thing that I'm wondering, and I pass off to you guys, is apparently Vanity Fair made a slip up. Not maybe a slip up, an error. I don't know if it's an error or a slip up. This is what my question is to you guys. That they initially said something about Kylo Ren attacking the Knights of Ren, and then they had to retract it and go, no, 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 he's not attacking them. They're just in it for sure. Now, is that an error, or is that they just made a major spoiler because I'm gonna be gutted. I'm already gutted that the Knights of Ren were spoiled for me when that poster leaked. I really don't want to be have another spoiler of, hey, we just gave away a major plot point that Kylo Ren is going to turn on his knights, and yeah, that's who you see. Now that I'm seeing these pictures of the six, I'm going to go back into that trailer and look at that, frame by frame, because yes, I am one of those people, to see if that is actually a knight that he knocks down. I still don't think so. It doesn't look like any of the helmets that we've seen in the concept art and now in the production still, but we will, we will have to see. Um, so yeah, I'm so happy to see the new Carrie Russell character. It's funny. I think I was kind of with everybody else when that leaked poster came out. Seeing her character, it kind of felt like she looks like a Power Ranger, which yes, I kind of agreed with that as well. But now again, the textures and the colors and things, I'm sorry, the costume designer escapes me, which I should be ashamed of myself. But I again, I love the colors, and it almost has kind of like an Egyptian Stargate feel to it. Like, and I also love that like her blasters are facing the opposite way, so when she draws, it's almost like she would have to have like a quick draw, not this way kind of thing, because the handles are facing the opposite direction. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see. And I mean, in her helmet almost reminds me kind of very similar of like the Infus Nest, that whole kind of thing in the background. Obviously, we don't have this number going on, but it's very interesting. Like the helmets is very long. Like I was not expecting it to be that long. I mean, it's almost like a little xenomorph looking, but still very badass. And of course, now that we've seen this photo with her on this snow planet, it was already kind of going, is that ship in the trailer the same ship that dropped off Rey? I'm still up in the air with this because I feel in the flashback or whatever, the the belly of it is a bit deeper than what we're seeing in the trailer. Again, I think only time will tell. I do not think this is Rey's mom. If anything, she may have dropped Rey off or been like a friend, or I don't know. I don't, but I don't know, because if you go back to the cave scene in The Last Jedi, if you listen carefully, right before Rey turns over her shoulder, you hear a female voice say Rey, and it actually shows up also in the subtitles, the for like the hearing impaired and things. It's there. It's better when, I mean, if you're hearing on headphones. I was doing a clip the other day and I heard it and I was just like, oh, hello. And I know one time when I saw it in the cinema, I heard it. It also, so it's there. It's like in your back right kind of speaker for the 5.1 surround people. So who knows? Who genuinely knows? So that would be very cool if there's like this thread throughout, because going also back to that force flashback, whatever we're going to call it. Is it a premonition? I've always thought it was a premonition. So how cool would that be? We definitely are getting the Knights of Ren now. How cool would that be if Rey is struggling with something and Kylo kills one of them, which for me, the the guy Kylo kills in the flashback, to me, that person has the same helmet as the person he body slams in the trailer. Again, I'm gonna try to back this up. Me and my co-pilot Brian, we're gonna record again on the 1st of June, and maybe we'll kind of talk a bit more speculation. I'll get more images and chat with him. But for me, I'm wondering, is it going to be a almost a premonition? So anyway, I almost envision they're on the battlefield fighting this mutual enemy, and he saves her or he kills that person, and then now we are seeing in present day what we saw in The Force Awakens. That would be cool. It doesn't happen, fine, but that would be really cool because we also kind of saw the forest and things, so it's very possible. But so yes, but Carrie Russell's character is Zori Bliss. I think I'm pronouncing that right. yeah, I think that's of Kijimi. Yay, more planets. So happy for me. That's more planets for me to do canon facts for you down the road for other broadcasts and things. Um, Next one, no surprise there of having Richard E. Grant being First Order. I mean, there's a poster at work where I work, which is for Jekyll and Hyde, and he's on that poster, and just the face. I'm just like, yeah, you're just First Order all over the place and everything. For those, when I say this, I'm not criticizing because I do know there are going to be viewers who don't read the extended materials. This will not be Hux's dad because spoiler for the Phasma book, Hux actually kills his father. His father's dead. Like, yeah, dead. So this will definitely not be his father. It may either be a father figure or it might be another kind of person looking down at Hawks and being like kind of like how they were in The Last Jedi and being like, "Oh god, this guy's such an idiot." But I don't know, they kind of seem like they're almost in cahoots and everything. But love the costume. I love the collar. Again, I know the 501st are like, yes, more CRLs coming up. Uh, so that's cool. Um, what else did we have going on here? Scroll down a bit. Um, let's see what else we got going on. Sorry. I bet Anthony Daniels is sick of being in that suit in the desert. Like, I mean, he wasn't obviously in Tunisia, but or not Tunisia, sorry, Tunisia was the original desert. Was it? Oh crap. You guys are gonna have to like hit me up. I want to say Tunisia is the original desert that A New Hope was filmed in. Yes, it was because Abu Dhabi is Jakku, and then Jordan is this new planet, which the name escapes me. But here we go. So here we talk. Let's talk Orbox. Those were the horses. So I love that Finn and Janna are on these horses, and someone actually brought up a good point that the heads look very similar to the head that was in the trap that Chewbacca pulled on in Return of the Jedi that got them trapped in the trap from the Ewoks, which again may be more confirmation that we are in Endor, which I'm totally down for that. I've always been a massive fan of Endor. I mean, if you pick one of my favorite planets from the original trilogy, Endor is that. Hoth, it was a cool idea, cool concept, but yeah, Endor all the way. So I'm hoping that would be cool. It would be cool to have one old school planet in the new trilogy. Like I'm all for new worlds and world building. We don't have to go to the same thing over and over and over again. But I think it would be cool. I think that's why like people got really excited when Rogue One, when we went to Mustafar, we're like, oh yes, we know what this is, kind of thing. So I mean, I think a little bit is nice and things, but yeah. Oh hey, sorry guys, I'm off rambling here. So we got Brian. Hey guys, sorry about that. That's what happens when I've been looking up pictures here on Vanity Fair. So, what's up, Alan? What's up, Desperado? So, Taurus, that's from oh god, sorry, it's late. From Knights of the Old Republic, I believe. But yeah, sorry, that's my bad. Like off on the chat. Hi, Alan. Sorry, guys. That's what I'm doing, rambling, looking at Vanity Fair here. um, yeah, let's see if I can pull this in a different window. So there, that way I'm not missing you guys in the chat. Yes, Knights of the Old Republic. Which yes, I actually finally got that to work on retro game night. So yes, started doing that. Very excited about that. Um, so where was it going? So of course the main photo that's getting everybody hyped talking about is this one, and it's even labeled star-crossed. I don't know if they are playing with us, because obviously with the Raylo movement and things like that, um, it's a shame that this one isn't a bigger picture. I've seen it bigger, but someone brought up a very good point that could they be standing on the literal um, Death Star ruins? I mean, can you imagine that they're literally fighting and standing on the Death Star ruins? Now, Brian, I don't know if you can help me out with this. Looking at this photo, I don't think they're actually fighting each other because the stances are wrong. The way Rey has her saber up is to obviously kind of like to guard an overhead attack. That's not even her like going down to swing. I don't know. Like I keep going back and forth on this if they're attacking each other or attacking something in the middle that oh, Alan, yeah, the Easter egg. It's the same as last week actually, which I have to remember what it is, but yeah, it's I might start doing that one on Twitter, being like, okay, here is your cheat sheet for Arabesh. This, figure out what the bottom says, but I think this one says let the Wookiee win because I forgot to change it. To I mean it could still work for solo, but yeah, 2 seconds. I will yeah, coming up Desperado. See if it shows up here and things. So yeah, I can't quite tell if they're actually fighting each other because the way the kind of the facing and looking, to me it's almost, and of course the visual effect person in me is like, I think there's something that hasn't been added there yet, because again these are on set photos. I think some have been doctored because obviously the or box have been doctored because those need. I remember seeing like the leaked on-set photos where you had the horses with the little markers on their faces. So obviously that bit has been doctored, but yeah. So we'll have to see. Have a look, Desperado. See what you think. If you think they're fighting each other, you being the other martial artist here in the room, if you think they're actually fighting each other or they're fighting something else, or even if it's a composition of the two of them together. But yeah, it's they're always wet, like lots of water, 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 water. Um, uh, what else had we had going on with some of these pictures? I loved seeing. Obviously, we've got the picture with Poe Dameron and Lando Calrissian and Chewbacca. I mean, that photo is pretty much like there was a very similar one for The Force Awakens with Han there, and you had, you know, Finn sitting where Poe is, and Rey was sitting on top. I want to say this blue thing is new for the Falcon. I want to say that's new. I don't remember that, and I know a lot of people kind of going back to the Make Solo 2 happen conversation tonight. People were like, "Do you want Lando to acknowledge L3 or whatever?" For me, I always kind of coming from a performance background and things. I think less is more. So I think it'd be great if he comes in, looks at the nav computer, doesn't even have to say a line. I don't want to have a line of "How you doing, old girl" or anything. Just maybe taking the thumb, maybe dusting away some dust or dirt, and then just kind of a smile. That's all we need. That is all we need. I mean, I think having him in yellow again to kind of, I mean, I'm now seeing his costume again because we saw it so briefly in the trailer and in the production still at Celebration. I was like, I really genuinely hope this is not the exact same costume, but it's not. It's yellow, but it is not. It doesn't have the scarf, and the costume is different, but it is still very similar to what he wore in Solo. Ah, I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. Obviously I didn't think he was going to be wearing light blue again, like he was in um, Empire Strikes Back, but I can take it. It's as long as I'm glad it's just not the same costume, so that's good. But yeah, and little Dio there, I don't. I don't feel we needed another droid. We have enough droids. We already have three. We had R2D2, C3PO, BB8. BB8 is the new favorite. I just, Dio, it's kind of like, what was the point? But hey, it's fun. It sells toys, kind of thing. Uh, so what else is going on? And then we had the okay, so okay, that's fair. So basically Desperado's saying that they are totally fighting each other. Rey is coming down for a low strike, and Kylo is dropping his saber to block. They are in quote difficult terrain, so I think that might be what you're saying. That's completely fair. That is completely fair. I guess I was thinking more the eye lines, but nope. That's why I wanted your opinion. You have the actual proper training and things. So especially with martial arts and weaponry, I'm just more the actual just non-weapon martial artist. So cool. Thank you for that. Um, cool. I like the picture of the local Jordanians playing the Aki natives, which I feel like we've seen this alien type before. I could be wrong. Let me know, guys. But yeah, the whole like the little tentacle things. I want to say we've seen them before, or like they're not a new alien. Like they have been in canon before. So the next one, this one got me. This one actually is more of like a behind the scenes but production still of John Williams. No, that's true, Brian. Desperado, that's very true. They don't need line of sight. I mean, heck, he wasn't even a Jedi, but Chirrut anyway. I loved that in Rogue One. He was blind as a bat, didn't need it. He could take all the stormtroopers down. Um, this photo with John Williams composing really got me in a couple different ways. It got me with I was not at this celebration, but that celebration where they honored Carrie Fisher and they literally opened the curtains and there was John Williams in the orchestra, which no one was expecting, to the point everyone almost had a moment of, wait, hang on. So there's that moment, but then I love the photo in the back where it's a finished visual effect shot of, or an almost finished visual effect shot of Carrie, and from what I can see, it looks great. There is definitely no uncanny valley um, digi double going on, because let me tell you, I've had to work with digi doubles. And when I say digi double, sorry, that's a visual effect term, but basically Tarkin and young Leia is what they call a digi double, where they have a stand-in, they put the digital face on there, and it's the eye animations that make it very difficult. When you don't get the eye animations right and the textures and the skin and things, that's when you get that really something just doesn't quite look right. But I think the good news is, tragically though, we have footage of Carrie. That is an easier composition that you can do in visual effects. It's more what they call roto, where they can cut it out. You can still project it on a 3D model, so it will match the head movements and things. That's why, FYI, the Aladdin, when the genie came out, people were like, "Oh, his face was slipping." Same concept. So, but I have all faith in ILM, which saying now they kind of did Aladdin too. But anyway, that's a whole different podcast I do, and we won't go there. But I was just really excited to see this. I love that they're giving little, just morsels, little taste to say, look, guys, we've got this. Don't panic. Don't worry. Because I'm sorry, like, I was just really up in arms, and people are like, oh, yeah, they're going to recast her. Oh, yeah, they're going to do this and that. It's like, you can't. Like, there's just certain things you just can't do. And this was one of them. And I think JJ has found a wonderful uh, mix. So, kind of scrolling down. Now, here's the other one, the Luke Skywalker with R2D2 kind of one. Now, the way Luke is, that is Last Jedi Luke in the terms of costume and things. The hand is gloved again. I don't know what they're trying to achieve with this, because I mean, this looks like this could have been literally a photo taken on set for The Last Jedi when the tree was burning. Um, and R2D2 would have been on that planet. So I don't see how this goes in context, and it's not, in my personal opinion, I don't feel it's not another flashback, because the clothing is wrong. His hand is gloved. The hair, the beard is all wrong. So I don't, I feel like this is kind of, hey, we're gonna give the fans Skywalker, but there's like no context to this. I don't know. Maybe that, or maybe he doesn't have the Force ghost, fuzziness around him. I don't know. But it just was, this one kind of was like, it was cool, don't get me wrong, but I was kind of like, okay, this one's interesting. So, yeah, and I mean that was really, I mean, I'm kind of skipping a few, but that was really it for the Vanity Fair photos. But as always, me, the Knights of Ren, I was so pumped for, and I'm really interested to see what is going to happen with that and everything. So that is very, very, very cool. So really, just kind of to wrap this up and kind of go back to the initial um, subject of this stream, the Make Solo 2 Happen stream, I I wanted to share a moment that I thought really worked in the film. And I think that was the introduction of the Millennium Falcon. It's funny, the first viewing I didn't catch that everyone is so convinced that Luke has died. I am completely I mean, he could have totally joined a nudist colony. That's very, very possible. I will say, I love how people were like, you know, well, if he was becoming one with the Force and the robe left, shouldn't technically his hand gone clunk as well? But yeah, we digress. um, but no, I felt that one of the best moments in Solo was the introduction of the Millennium Falcon. The music was brilliant. How it just kind of, it's a fanfare, and it just, oh my god, like I just remember getting chills in the cinema, that I was just like, okay, this is great, because I felt like they were able to capture that moment. Yeah, see more nudist colony theories have committed. Yeah, definitely. um. So anyway, sorry that the that music cue just captured perfectly what the audience was feeling at that moment with Han Solo when we are introduced to the Millennium Falcon, and we all fall in love with it. And I love that moment. I love, also one thing that really surprised me was when L3, she's like, yeah, droid rights and everything. And again, I guess because again, I purposely went in this film with no expectations. I was not expecting all of a sudden when like she is literally mowed down, like boom, boom, and Lando's going and running to try to save her and things like that. That that fear in her voice, like just especially like when he's like, "You're all right." When they get in the Falcon, he's like, "You're all right. You're all right." I mean, it literally was like holding a soldier, dying in battle, and I mean, felt well done to Phoebe Weller. I think that's her surname. That played her, like, just, it got me sad. I was just like, what? And Donald Glover, of course, who again, out of this whole Make Solo 2 happen, I would be happy with watching a Lando series. Give me a Lando series with, L3. I'm happy with that too. Like, there's so many spin-offs. Go for it. Why not? I mean, if Winter Soldier and not Hawkeye, crap. What's his Falcon? You can tell that's how much I care about that character, but have a series? Come on. Um so yeah, I think I pretty much kind of talked about moments I liked, moments I didn't like. The Kessel run was exciting, but I guess I always envisioned the Kessel run as like a race. kind of thing. So I guess the way they kind of presented it surprised me. I don't know how I felt about the creature inside the mall or the maelstrom. Um, but at the same time, it was cool, and it raised the stakes. So you're like, oh crap! Not only are they going through this, they're not only are they getting chased by Imperials, all of a sudden now they're having to avoid this kind of thing, which made me think very much reminiscent of the Phantom Menace when there's always a bigger fish. Um, kind of scene where they're kind of trying to get through the planet core and things. So I mean that was very similar to that and things. Um, and I loved actually the kind of little joke where he's like, where Beckett's going, yeah, like a Soviet pelt, because like sometimes fans are gonna be like, we don't know what that means. How are we gonna know what he's talking about? And I love that like Han is like, well, is it or isn't it, kind of thing. So that was quite funny. In canon, I thought Kessel was an area of space-filled black holes. Yes, no, you're absolutely correct. And it still is. You are absolutely correct, Desperado. Um, I guess I just thought it was a race because they're talking about parsecs, but parsecs isn't actually a unit of speed; it's distance. So I don't. That probably is me kind of learning the canon lingo and things like that. So yes, that it's probably definitely like that in canon. I don't think they deviated from that. But since we got you guys in chat, like, did you watch Solo? Did you like it? Did you not like it? All opinions are welcome here. What did you think? I do feel they kind of shot themselves in the foot having it in May. They should have kept the December time. I have my theories and maybe insides that they didn't want it to compete with Mary Poppins Returns, so that's why things got pushed to the May. But I think, judging by kind of the hashtag movement today, I will not discredit the people boycotting that it may have had some weight. But I think having it between Deadpool and Infinity War just wasn't a great time. Hey, Canon Junkie, hello! Hello, welcome. Yes, it should have definitely been in December. So to the point, I mean, we all felt kind of like last year, I know, like, because again, I'm 3 days before Christmas. So for me, Star Wars is like birthday, Star Wars. Yay. Um, oh, that's interesting. There is a theory on why it's only 12 parsecs, something to having to do with Solo getting so close to a black hole that it caused the distance to be shorter. I haven't heard that before. I thought it was just him, you know, like he says to Chewie, yeah, round up, buddy, or round down kind of thing. So I thought maybe it was him just kind of playing with the numbers and things. But yeah. No, I liked the Kessel run very much. So I love that, and I also love that there was a moment that someone brought up on Twitter, kind of a few months after the um the film came out, with Kira putting her hand on on Han's shoulder. It was showing that kind of her having absolute faith in him. That kind of sometimes you don't see that. You see a lot of the characters having to prove themselves or things like that, but to have that absolute trust kind of thing, that was cool. And also it was neat seeing different controls, because there's like a lever in the Solo ship that is definitely not in the sweet sequel trilogy. So yeah, I love seeing the Millennium Falcon's ever changing dishes and mechanical things. Um, but yeah, no, I'm doing good. I'm kind of winding down, so because it is 1:15, so I probably should head into bed here. But so yeah, Solo. For me, with the Make Solo 2 happen hashtag and movement, for me, more and more, I think I would like to see it. If it does happen, it definitely seems like people are very much interested. Make it a Disney Plus. Make it a Disney Plus. Even maybe not even a series, make it a Disney Plus film kind of thing. I know there are films coming out on Disney Plus that are exclusive to it. Cannot disclose what. It's not Star Wars related, sorry. But it's happening. They are definitely, it's like Netflix, they're making their own content for the channel. And so it's not just TV series like The Mandalorian. There are films. So I think it won't do enough. I think it got too burnt in the box office that if this movement does take to the next step, that it will probably be a Disney Plus thing, which that might be okay. That might be okay because fans like me and other people who want it will be happy, but then you don't have people who are going, oh, they took away a cinema spot, oh, they wasted, who knows. That's completely fair, Desperado. I I think Alden did a pretty good job. He was never going to be able to fill Harrison Ford's shoes. I you just can't. And I liked that I didn't see a caricature of Harrison, but he did the points right. When he's like, "I am a great pilot," and he points and things like that. And there's a wave he does to Emphas Nest at the end. This kind of like, I'm not even doing it right, but just a simple little nod. And I saw that in the cinema and I was like, holy crap, there he is. There he is. uh Thanks, Alan. Nope, yeah, hopefully we'll have a good weekend. Lots of cleaning, lots of sorting out the bedroom after having a long journey. Or I had a weekend trip to Amsterdam, so that was quite nice. Yeah, no, I think I'm all for an 8 to 10 episode plus series. Give me Young Adventures Han Solo. I mean, who knows? I mean, they might even be able to reuse the sets and things. I don't know how quickly they kind of tear that stuff down and things. But I mean, if Game of Thrones can have those budgets, I don't see, you know. He even has the resting Solo face in the spaceport. Try what you mean, Canon? The resting Solo face in the spaceport. Sorry, I might be my brain going dead at like 1:30 in the morning. But there was definitely, yeah, I didn't think he was gonna. He embodied Solo more than I was expecting. So I was happy with it, and I really felt I was really happy for him because I can't imagine that pressure. I think the only other person who's having more pressure than he did is J.J. Abrams for Episode 9. Which, after hearing this Vanity Fair article and reading that, he kind of was like, do you know what? Yeah, I did play it safe for The Force Awakens, but you know what? This time I'm doing it by my gut. It sounded a bit like Ryan Johnson y, like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I feel is right. It's like, oh, I could hear some people probably going, yeah, and other people going, oh god. But I have faith in JJ. Definitely have faith in JJ to bring it back to one. So, with that in mind, guys, I want to say thank you very much to people coming into the chat and things. So happy. Thank you for listening to my rambling and everything. It's been really exciting watching the Make Solo 2 happen. Um, hashtag take off. I mean, again, love the Resistance broadcast, guys. I'm all for it. Yes, I would agree. He definitely has these subtle moments, Canon Junkie. And thank you again for doing an amazing navigation. Oh, so yeah, actually, funny thing, guys, we have a crew in chat. Got my co-pilot, Desperado, got my navigator, Canon Junkie, and the other co-pilot, me. So heck, look at that. The crew is in the chat and everything. So yeah, Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge crew is in chat. Love it. You guys are awesome. So, yes, and then of course, the ever faithful Alan, we got to give you like a crew title because you're always there, always supporting. So, thank you for that. And also, thank you to people watching on Periscope as well because I had it kind of going to both YouTube and yes, Wookie noises. Do it. For having watching the the stream and everything. Thank you very much. If you liked this, I know it's a bit rough and ready, but that we are Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge. If you like this, please hit the like and subscribe. We also have podcasts now, as of last week, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, a few I haven't heard of, but if you go to Anchor FM and type in Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge, you can definitely find it from all your favorite platforms. Uh, Follow on at so you can follow me at Twitter on from Galaxy's Edge and things like that. I'm very active on that. I also kind of do behind the scenes on the my Instagram, which is Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge. This has been the Kessel episode. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for everybody in the chat. It's been a blast. Again, kind of rough and ready, but anyway, I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Let's make Solo 2 happen. Amazing job with all the hashtags. Mad shout out to the Resistance broadcast, to those three. Sorry, I'm so brain dead. Names: Lacey, James, John. Love you guys, and thank you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.